What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC Fight Night Burns versus Morales. Um, Last weekend for UFC 315, we did all right, fellas. We hit some pretty cool underdogs. I gave out Valentina Shevchenko, Modestas Bukauskas, and Jack Della Maddalena. So the fights that mattered, I picked right. So that was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, we've been doing good every single week for like the last 8 weeks on picks. Pretty good, I'd say. So let's keep it going. We got a weird card this weekend. A lot of Brazilians on this card. Let's fucking jump right into it. Kicking us off at women's straw weight, Luana Pinheiro is taking on Tisha Pennington. Guys, I'm going with Tisha Pennington. Ooh, I didn't mean to show myself that line. What I like to do for these is I don't like to look at the betting lines until like I'm looking at the fight itself. That's a wide line. I think Tisha Pennington wins because she's really well rounded. She could push a hard pace for 3 rounds, and I haven't been super impressed by Luana Pinheiro. You know, Amanda Ribas TKOs her. She gets subbed by Angela Hill, and she loses the decision to Jillian Robertson. Honestly, taking Jillian Robertson to a decision is actually pretty impressive, considering how she looked in her last fight. She looked great. But Tisha Pennington's just well rounded. She's good. She's strong. She's physical. She can push a hard 3 rounds. And she only really loses in kind of robbery split decisions. Like this Tabitha Ritchie split decision loss is one of the most egregious robberies I've ever seen. Like it was horrible. I could not believe that Tisha Pennington lost this fight from my memory. And I picked her as a a decent sized underdog against Richie. I could not believe this was such a robbery. Then she beat Carla Esparza very easily. Lost to Mackenzie Dern once again in a split decision. So Tisha Pennington loves to lose a split decision, but over a 3 round fight, you know what I mean. She could beat Angela Hill, and Angela Hill's kind of the a lady who will fraud check someone who's not on the level of like the top women's strawweights. I think Tisha Pennington here can just kind of win over 3 rounds, putting out good volume, mixing it up if she needs to, and getting it. Yeah, everybody's on Pennington by decision. That's kind of how I feel about this one. Although I do feel like the line is a little bit egregious. Minus 400 for somebody who typically gives up a close decision is a little bit sketchy. Like I always say, this isn't betting advice, but I would stay away from betting on this for sure. Moving up to men's flyweight, Hyung Sung Park taking on Carlos Hernandez. This is an interesting matchup, actually. I feel like Carlos Hernandez here is going to be a pretty decent underdog. Yes, okay, he is. Not a huge one. I think this is a pretty tricky matchup here because I think Carlos Hernandez is genuinely a little bit underrated. He's pretty fucking good, dude. He has really good scrambles. He's got pretty fast hands. I mean, guys at flyweight are just good. You know what I mean? Typically, and Carlos Hernandez, he's got a rough string of in his last 5 fights. These 3 losses are to quality opponents. You know, Ray Tsuruya is a really good grappler. Tatsuro Taira, really good grappler. Then Alan Nascimento, really good grappler. By the way, where is Alan Nascimento, bro? Where the fuck are you at, dude? Alan Nascimento is so good. What the fuck? Like he hasn't fought in forever. Um, but he beats a Dennis Bondar, TKOs him. Should have been a TKO, and they beat Niem Jargel Tumendembarel. You know, right off the dome piece, I can say that guy's fucking name. Um, Sung Park is good, but I don't think he's on the level of these guys in the grappling that are able to get the best of Carlos Hernandez. Granted, Tyra got it done with a shot on the feet, technically. You know, KO Shannon Ross, who cares? You know. And then we're talking about like road to UFC fights. So he really doesn't have that much UFC experience, really. And he hasn't fought in a long time. I do think Hyun Sung Park is good, though. It's just, can he. This is a tricky one. I might pick Carlos Hernandez as an underdog here. I'm considering it because but he's chinny though. Carlos Hernandez is a little bit chinny. That's kind of my hang up here. It's not like Hyung Sung Park has insane striking, but I feel like he could land something on Carlos Hernandez. And Carlos Hernandez does kind of get wobbled easy. He gets dropped. He has really great recovery though. You saw it in the Tuma Dimbarel fight. But the thing is, if you get dropped, typically you're losing that round. Even if you do recover pretty quickly, because it's just not a good visual. Hmm. I don't know. And it's not like Carlos Hernandez is old. He's in his prime. He's 31. I'm gonna go with Young Sung Park, but I think this is gonna be a pretty competitive fight. I think Young Sung Park can land damage here in this fight. I think he can hurt Carlos Hernandez on the feet because I don't think Carlos Hernandez's durability is quite up to snuff. And I've seen Young Sung Park use some pretty nice striking techniques. He's got a good body shot, and he has all right power. And I think if you have all right power against a Carlos Hernandez, you can drop him. And if you can drop him, you can bank rounds. I think Carlos Hernandez is more of a minute winner here in this matchup, and Young Sung Park will end up being more of a moment winner. But I think he will have moments because Carlos Hernandez's durability is a little bit, so I think that'll lead to him having more moments. I think I'm going to go with Park by decision. I don't know if he TKOs Carlos Hernandez here. I'm going to say decision. I'm going to say like 29-28. Maybe he gets the first two. Hernandez ends up strong, gets the third round. Moving up to women's strawweight, Elise Reed taking on Denise Gomes. Guys, I'm going with Denise Gomes. Elise Reed is not that great. She's a huge favorite. Denise Gomes is just powerful. And being powerful is enough in a lot of women's divisions. Like Elise Reed is okay. She had a good performance against Jessica Penne. But like beating Carolina Kovalevich is a little bit different. You know what I mean? Denise Guns is just good. She's got good striking. She hits very hard. Elise Reed's kind of just I don't I don't want to be a dick, but she's just kind of mid. She doesn't really do anything incredible. She's just kind of there. She's not a complete throwaway bomb like the line would suggest, but she's probably not winning this fucking fight. I could see Denise Gomes hurting her on the feet because she just has substantial power. I don't think she knocks her out though. Yeah, I don't really think she knocks her out, but I think her damaging strikes are enough to net her rounds. Even if she's getting outstruck by Elise Reed, I think Denise Gomes will get rounds just because of the strikes she's throwing and landing will be much more powerful than the strikes Elise Reed throws. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Denise Gomes. I think she wins a decision here against Elise Reed. A lot of women's fights on this card. Moving up to women's bantamweight, Luana Santos taking on Tanara Labosa. I'm gonna go with Luana Santos here. What's the line? Very close line though. Very close line. That's kind of surprising. Because Labosa, she's all right. Beat Ravenda Oliveira, who's not too bad. But it's been 2 years. Like, I just don't like picking people coming off of giant layoffs. You know what I mean? I don't love a loss to Casey O'Neill, but she's 25. You know what I mean? She'll be leveling up. But then again, I think that's probably why this line's so close, because Luana Santos is a flyweight, and this is a bantamweight, correct? I'm still going to go with Luana Santos here, although I think this is a bit sketchy. I just think she's better than a. I think Santos is just better than a Labosa. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really much to break down here. Another women's fight. They'll probably go the distance. I'm going with Luana Santos by decision. Can we get to an actual fight, please? Uh, moving up to featherweight, Connor Matthews taking on Yadir Devali. I'm going with Yadir Devali or Deval. Connor Matthews is a grappler who likes to strike. He's not very good at striking. He's been KO'd twice recently. Yeah, Deval's a giant favorite, and he should be. Connor Matthews, I just don't think is really the UFC level. Lost to Francis Marshall in a decision. Not too bad. Francis Marshall's really good. Beat Jer Ferris in a decision. Honestly, not a bad win. But then Dennis Bazooka's flatlining you. Hell nah. And then Jose Delgado's killing you as well. I just think Deval can do the same thing. Do I really need to break this down? Yeah, I think Deval gets a TKO over Connor Matthews because he's been TKO'd twice in his last two fights, and he doesn't like to use his grappling, even though his grappling is kind of what he's best at a lot of the time. Just low fight IQ. Moving up to lightweight, Jared Gordon taking on Thiago Moises. Guys, I'm going with not Thiago Moises. I'm going with Jared Gordon. I'm going with Jared Gordon as an even. Dude, Thiago Moises has looked like straight Dookie Bonds shit lately. I don't know, dude. He kind of fell off. Like beat Melky, got KO'd by Benoit Saint Denis, which you know at the time was an all right loss, but recently I don't know if that's such a good loss to have. Mitch Ramirez's ass. Ludovic Klein's good. Beat Trey Ogden. Good win. Dude, Jared Gordon's just looked good, dude. Like he should have like this loss, and this no contest genuinely should be 3 wins. I'm not even bullshitting you because he was beating the shit out of Bobby Green. He beat Paddy Pimblett and he beat Nazareth Haqparast. And when you look at these fights, Leonardo Santos, Paddy Pimblett, Bobby Green, Mark Madsen, and then Nazareth Haqparast, that should be a 5-fight win streak for Jared Gordon, dude. I swear to God. Jared Gordon's fucking underrated. Like he's sneaky good, dude. He's looked great and like all these matchups. Like he looked really good against Haqparast after a tough first round. Just outdogged him and had him absolutely gassed. Just landing good shots on Haqparast for the last 2 rounds, and they fucking robbed him. I think Thiago Santos or Thiago Santos, Thiago Moises, dude, like he hasn't looked that good lately. Like the Trey Ogden win is good, but I just haven't been overly impressed with him lately. Like he looked pretty bad against Ludovic Klein. I do I really rate a win over Mitch Ramirez? Melquez Alcasta is good, but it was up a weight class on short notice. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go with Jared Gordon. I think he can get a decision here. A lot of people are on Moises. A lot of people are on Moises. He seems to be the people's not dog, but people's like close money bet, I guess. I don't know. I just haven't seen Thiago Moises look like the guy who took Islam 4 rounds. You know what I mean? Lately, he's just kind of looked um a little bit out of it lately. And Jared Gordon's looked on. Like he should have won all 5 of these fights, quite frankly. And I think Jared Gordon's actually a little underrated. So I'm gonna go with Jared Gordon over Thiago Moises. Probably by decision. Moving up to lightweight, Mateus Camilo taking on Gabe Green. I'm probably gonna go with Mateus Camilo just because I don't think Gabe Green's all that good. It's just when's the last time Gabe Green fought? Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, when he got flatlined in like 10 seconds by Brian Battle. Once again, I just don't love the long layoff. He's coming off of a KO after a giant layoff, fighting a pretty tough guy in Mateus Camilo. You know what I mean? I just don't. I just don't think Gabe Green is that guy. Like maybe he can upset because Gabe Green's tough. Despite getting KO'd in 15 seconds, Gabe Green's a tough guy. He could push a hard pace. I mean, he took Ian Gary to a decision, but who fucking doesn't, right? No, I gotta go with Mateus Camilo here. Uh, I could see him hurting Gabe Green on the feet, but largely, more often than not, I think he probably just wins a decision here. I think Gabe Green's probably just a step behind. Oh, also, this fight is at lightweight. Gabe Green is typically a welterweight fighter, so this weight cut might be fucking brutal for him, especially coming off of a long layoff, bad KO loss. I don't love the move down to lightweight for him, but we'll see. He might be way bigger than Camilo, and he might look good. I don't know. I don't know what Gabe Green I'm seeing, so I can't logically pick him here, respectfully. Moving up to featherweight, Julian Erosa taking on Melky Costa, baby. I'm going with Melquez Costa here in this matchup. He should be a good favorite. Yeah, that's what I thought. Dude, Julian Erosa looked like such dog shit against Darren Elkins. If it was anybody else other than old man Darren Elkins here in this matchup, Julian Erosa would have gotten absolutely fucking battered on the feet. He was moving in absolute slow motion. Like his strikes were so slow. It's unbelievable. I think Melky's just going to destroy him. Melquiza's coming off of a great win against Christian Rodriguez as an underdog, which I picked him to win, by the way. Fuck you, Christian Rodriguez. You dweeb. Uh, Subbed Andre Fili and beat Shaylin, Nerdy, and Beckett. Like, this is a pretty good 3-fight win streak compared to, I mean, he beat Christian Rodriguez too, but he's stuck. These 2 guys submitted themselves. I don't give a fuck about these wins, dude. He's on a 1-5 win streak as far as I'm concerned against Darren Elkins, and he looked like shit. If it was any other like unranked 45er, I think they would have beat up Julian Erosa on the feet. Man, he looks so slow, and if he looks like that against Melquez Costa, he's gonna get finished on the feet. Melquez, young guy, running a lot of momentum, fighting very consistently. I think Melky Costa here can beat Julian Erosa pretty clearly. He's got a distinct speed advantage in the striking. And I think he can hurt Julian Erosa, who's notoriously not a guy who takes a shot particularly well. I think he can win this fight. As long as he doesn't stuff his head into a guillotine, Mokwazel Costa should win this fight. He should win it on the feet, win it by TKO, in my opinion. Maybe a club and sub could happen. I'm gonna go with Mokwazel Costa inside the distance though. What are the people thinking? They're thinking Melky decision. I think he could probably. I think he's live for inside the distance, honestly, because I don't know, man. I think the speed might be too much for Erosa. Moving up to 185, Nursultan Ruziboev taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. I've got an interesting take here. What's the line looking like? Guys, would you forgive me for saying something a little bit insane? I think I might go with Dustin Stoltzfus as a plus 225 underdog here. I know that sounds crazy, but Dustin Stoltzfus has looked all right lately. I think he's gotten a little better. And my thing with Stoltzfus against Ruziboev here, my thing is Ruziboev in this matchup, like this isn't a great stylistic matchup for him because Stoltzfus is a pretty fucking durable guy. You know, he took some fucking monstrous shots from Bruno Ferreira. And even after that spinning elbow, he was still fucking on his feet somehow. Uh, he's a tough guy. He's a hard guy to finish. And man, he's looked decent. Like KOing Marc-Andre Barriault made me think Marc-Andre Barriault was done and terrible and washed, but he came back and looked really good on last weekend's card. So I think that's a pretty good win for him. And he also subbed Punahele Soriano as well, who's a really strong physical guy. And I think his grappling is what's going to set him apart here against Nursultan Ruziboev. Because I feel like if you're picking Ruziboev to win, you must be picking him by KO, right? Because I don't think he wins 3 rounds. Because Nursultan Ruziboev's a guy I've seen slow down, and he has a giant weakness to grappling. I said this in my Joaquin Buckley fight. He should be able to take this guy down. Nursultan Ruziboev has no grappling defense. He just goes for Kimura sweeps off of his back, but he's not fucking any good at it. He's good when he's doing it to fucking garbage men on the regional scene. He can hit that Kimura from bottom. He's not doing that on Dustin Stoltzfus, who's got a pretty good grappling game. I think it's a little underrated. And I think if Nursultan Ruziboev doesn't really find that knockout shot early, I could see Dustin Stoltzfus putting the grappling on him in like rounds 2 and 3, and I think it would be effective. Because, like, you know, he was shooting a couple of takedowns against Bruno Ferreira, but Bruno Ferreira is a hard guy to take down and hold down because he's like 5'8", dense as fuck. You know what I mean? So it's hard to take a guy down like that. And he's got a judo background. He's a hard guy to keep down. Nursultan Ruziboev, though, is a guy who's really tall, really lanky, really easy to keep down. I think Dustin Stoltzfus can actually win minutes here in rounds 2 and 3 and maybe win this fight. They also have a very similar reach despite Ruziboev being fucking 5 inches taller. So he will be punching down here in this matchup as well, which I think matters. What's the line looking like? Nobody's picking Dustin Stoltzfus. Not a soul. You know what? I think Ruziboev is knockout or bust. I think if he doesn't get the knockout, I think Dustin Stoltzfus can win this fight, actually. I'm going to go with Dustin Stoltzfus. Fuck it. Plus 225 underdog. If this hits, I'll look like the smartest man ever. If it doesn't, I'll look like I don't know. I took a shot on a guy who's a giant underdog. I don't know. I'm going with Dustin Stoltzfus. I think he wins the decision. We'll see. I don't know. I've had a weird feeling about this fight all week. Moving up to a lightweight. Lightweight. We got 2 featherweights fighting a lightweight? Okay. Sure, whatever. Moving up to lightweight, Sadiq Yusuff taking on Myron Santos. Myron Santos, you motherfucker, dude. You fucked me. You fucked me against Francis Marshall. I picked Francis Marshall to beat Myron Santos as like the underdog pick of the fucking the Eon. He closed minus fucking 2,000. And he somehow lost as a plus 250 underdog. Sickening. Absolutely sickening. Even Myron Santos doesn't think he won this fight. I watched it on an interview. He doesn't think he won this fight either. So pay me my money, Vegas. You fucks. But yeah, Myron Santos taking on Sadiq Yusuff. Good matchup. A really good matchup, honestly. And now a lot of people are probably surprised because Myron Santos didn't look very good against Francis Marshall. Why is he a favorite against Sadiq Yusuff, who logically would be a step up in competition? And I can tell you why. Sadiq Yusuff is good. He's a good fighter. My problem with Sadiq Yusuff is he has a chin made out of glass. Sadiq Yusuff gets wobbled, hurt, and rocked in every single fight I see him in. He's coming off of a pretty decent sized year layoff after getting KO'd. against Edson Barboza, he got hurt really bad. Did he get hurt bad against Don Chanis? I don't think so, but you shouldn't be getting hurt against Don Chanis ever. Uh, got hurt by Arnold Allen pretty bad off the top of my head. He doesn't fight that often, man. He's kind of like a once a year fighter, bro. Whereas Myron Santos is getting right back in there. But Myron Santos, it's just an unfortunate style, basically. When I think about this matchup, I think that's why Myron's the favorite. It's a really unfortunate style for Sadiq Yusuff. Because logically, you'd be like, oh, Sadiq Yusuff's a step up in competition. He's really good, really well-rounded. He should win this fight. Except he's a bit chinny coming off of a decent-sized layoff against a guy who's kind of a sharpshooter and a guy who picks his shots really well. And I think that's the problem. I think Francis Marshall genuinely is a harder matchup than a Sadiq Yusuff because Francis Marshall is he is tough as fuck. Like when you watch that fight back, like Francis Marshall, like he got hit, but he didn't even fucking move when he was getting hit. He was just fucking in his face 24/7, working the grappling and landing his own shots back. I don't think Sadiq Yusuff can do that. I don't think he confirmed the shots of Myron Santos like a Francis Marshall was able to do. Uh, I think Myron Santos can find a shot against Sadiq Yusuff on the feet and drop him. And even if he doesn't finish him, that's a round in the fucking shitter, right? In a 3-round fight. You know what I mean? So he only needs to win one more. And I think he can do that. I think he's the better striker typically. I think he's more durable despite getting dropped by Francis Marshall. It's just, dude, Francis Marshall's good. People don't know ball. They didn't recognize a good thing when they had Francis Marshall at plus 250. They didn't understand. They do now, though. I guarantee you Francis Marshall's going to be lined as a big favorite in his next fight. And I honestly think from a betting perspective, you might be getting a discount on Myron Santos. Because I feel like if this fight didn't happen, this Francis Marshall fight, he'd probably be like -2 something, I feel like. Now, this isn't betting advice. Please understand. But I'm just saying, the Vegas likes to overcorrect lines like this when a nice prospect has kind of a stinky performance like this. Even though it says he won, he did not. He did not win this fight. So I think you might be getting a slightly discounted line here, honestly. But I do think he wins. I just think his striking is a little bit cleaner. He's got good speed. He's got great timing. Granted, against guys who are of a lower level of competition. But Sadiq Yusuff's a bit chinny, and I think it only really takes one good shot to drop him. That's my problem. A lot of people are picking Yusuff. He seems to be the people's dog. I'm going with Santos here. I think it's just an unfortunate stylistic matchup for Yusuff. Granted, can Yusuff win? Absolutely. Yusuff's good, bro. I picked him to beat Diego Lopez, even though he was a little bit chinny just because of how good and how well-rounded he is. But, you know, Sadiq, like, he's 32 now. He's taking a year off, and all I see this guy do is whine on Twitter. You know what I mean? He's a good fighter. I wouldn't mind him winning, but I just think it's a tricky matchup against a guy who's staying active, staying fresh. You know, 3 fights in 8 months. You know what I mean? I'm going to go with Myron Santos. I actually think he can hurt Sadiq Yusuff on the feet. Maybe finish him, but I think probably wins a decision off of damage. Moving up to light heavyweight, Paul Craig take on Rodolfo Bellato. Guys, whew, Paul Craig, man. Back up against the wall. Fuck. What's the line? Oh my god. Holy shit. That's disgusting. Oh my god. Dude, Rodolfo Bellato. I have a take with Rodolfo Bellato. He sucks. I think Rodolfo Bellato is fucking garbage. No, like, and let me explain why. He's a decent fighter with decent skills. He's a big physical guy. His striking's okay. His striking offense is okay. And his grappling's okay. But he has no chin at all. His chin is made of glass. His fight IQ is fucking terrible. And he doesn't move his fucking head. Ever. That's why I picked Jimmy Crute to beat him, and I will die on the hill that Jimmy Crute fucking beat Rodolfo Bellato. Bellato did not win rounds 2 and 3. You're smoking fucking crack. Jimmy Crute was a great underdog pick. He won this fight. But once again, I get screwed. It happens. All good, man. KO'd Ihor Potierio after getting fucking rocked and should have probably gotten fucking TKO'd himself, to be honest, if it was another ref. He just gets fucking wobbled by everybody, dude. He's been KO'd twice, I believe both by Vitor Petrino, who Vitor Petrino, you know, he's a physical guy, but you're seeing the level. It's not that high. But I just don't think Paul Craig's the guy to fraud check him here, just because I don't think Paul Craig's got the... Like, I've had a feeling that Paul Craig could genuinely hurt Bellato on the feet. I know that sounds insane. I know you're like, what? Paul Craig hurting a guy on the feet? I'm telling you, this Bellato guy has no chin. Like he's getting dropped by shots that are not landing like by the ear or on the jaw. He's getting dropped by shots that kind of hit like up here, like on top of his head. He'll get fucking dropped. I just don't. I hate picking guys like that, but he shouldn't be in that much danger on the feet against Paul Craig at all because Paul Craig's striking is abysmal. Granted, Bellato's a guy who's dumb enough to jump into Paul Craig's guard and maybe get himself submitted. But I think more often than not, he should be able to win this fight because Paul Craig doesn't have the style to beat him. A guy like Jimmy Crute had the style to beat him. Granted, you know, we gave this guy a fucking draw, I guess, even though I don't think he deserved it. I think he should have lost. But it's all good, man. Yeah, I like Paul Craig. I hate to see him lose. I think he probably gets cut here. Everybody's picking Bellato by KO. I don't know, man. I think Paul Craig's better at light heavyweight than middleweight. Like, how many of these fights are at middleweight? Middleweight, middleweight. Like, dude, like, look at the guys he's fighting, though. Like, both of these guys are fucking. Kyle Barhalio is basically a #1 contender, like a #2 contender. Brendan Allen's like top 5 right now, I think. Beat Andre Muniz, which isn't so bad. Well, I lost to Johnny Walker, which I don't love. I think Paul Craig operates better at light heavyweight, but Paul Craig can only beat good light heavyweights, and I don't think Adolfo Bellato is a good light heavyweight, so Bellato should probably just scalp him. I'm gonna go with Adolfo Bellato, but dude, the -500 is fucking ridiculous. Like he has no business being -500 in a cage fight. This guy, he's got too many weaknesses in my opinion, but I think he probably does win here. This guy is very fadeable though, very fadeable. Depending on his next matchup. That was the co-main, huh? Jeez. Moving up to our welterweight main event, Gilbert Burns taking on Michael Morales. Uh, oh my God. You're shitting me. Okay. Michael Morales is a gigantic favorite. I'm picking him to win, but I'm going to say this right now. In a battle of top 10 fighters, basically, nobody should be this big of a favorite. Especially against Gilbert Burns, dude. The guy's got 30 fights and he's fought the highest level of competition possible. Plus 500 is a gift on him, no matter whether he wins or loses. Because this is a guy who will fight for your fucking coin. That's for goddamn sure. I've seen it. Michael Morales, though, he's good. But honestly, when I watch Morales fight, I really want to say this. I don't think he's that good. He's good, but not that fucking good. Like I think he's carried genuinely by his physical presence in the octagon at welterweight because he is a big, strong guy at welterweight. I mean, 6 foot. I think he's a little taller than 6 foot when you see him, but a 79-inch reach at welterweight is despicable, and he seems really fucking strong, dude. And I think that's kind of what's going to separate him here in this matchup is kind of his physicality. That's the right word. Like I think he's going to be stronger than an aging Gilbert Burns at this point. I mean, Gilbert Burns is almost 40. He's almost 39 right now. I think Morales is a little bit cleaner on the feet, although sometimes he does leave himself open. He has very weird performances. Like sometimes he'll look really good, sometimes he'll look kind of not so good, but he still wins though. That's the thing. He still wins. Now against Neil Magny, like he finished Neil Magny, but there were moments in that fight where I was like, ooh, fuck, he does not look that good. But then he just has a moment where he's just a God-given physicality. He starts kind of throwing Neil Magny around, hits him with that spinning elbow, and finishes him with grounded pound. And I'm like, holy fuck, okay, maybe this guy is legit. Beats Jake Matthews in a decision. Decent enough win. Max Griffin, decision. Okay. He didn't look the best in this fight. KO'd Adam Fugit, KOing Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles is a good fighter. But it doesn't make you -650 here. He's 25, though. He should be leveling up his game a lot. I think he's going to be the bigger, stronger, faster guy in there at this point in his career. I don't see. I can see him getting hurt because Gilbert Burns probably still does have that power. It's just he hasn't really been able to find it lately. Like he lost to Bilal Muhammad. I think this was probably the end of his career losing to Bilal Muhammad here. Not because Bilal Muhammad put it on him. It's because he had such a bad injury there. He tore his trapezius, completely ripped his shoulder apart. Horrible injury there. And then Jack Della Maddalena fucking KO'd him bad. So these two losses, and he did not look good against Sean Brady. Granted, he won all 5 rounds against Sean Brady, but he did not look good against Sean Brady. So I think these two fights kind of put the nail in the coffin, in my opinion, as far as Gilbert Burns being a contender at welterweight. But I still think he's much better than +475. It's despicable. But I think the reach is going to be too much. I think Gilbert's going to really struggle to get past this 8-inch reach advantage. I think in the grappling, Gilbert could try and go for takedowns, but I think Morales is going to be a little bit too strong in the hips, a little bit too physical, a little bit too athletic at this point in his career. 25, almost 26. He's going to be a hard guy to take down and hold down, I feel like. Could Gilbert Burns do it? Sure. I think it's a pretty unlikely chance. And I just kind of think Michael Morales is going to be able to find a good shot on the feet and hurt a aging Gilbert Burns, whose durability might be a little bit suspect here after this TKO. And he took some shots against Sean Brady as well. I'm going to go with Michael Morales here. I think he's going to get a TKO victory in this matchup. But once again, I think this line's a little bit crazy. What are people thinking? Yeah, Morales. Yeah, everybody's on Morales TKO. Yeah, I kind of agree. I just think it's a little bit past Gilbert's time. Yeah. But that's it for this card, fellas. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it a ton. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.